January 10, 1981. The shooting grounds of Kong Military Academy, just north of Pyongyang. 6,000 soldiers, officials, and party members stood in rigid lines under the winter sky. Kim Jong-il already held the levers of terror in North Korea. As heir to his father Kim Il-sung, he commanded the secret police, propaganda machine, and absolute loyalty. But one woman had broken the rules. The famous actress Woo In-hee, his secret mistress, stood tied to a wooden post. 12 soldiers raised their AK-47s. Each fired 10 rounds. 120 bullets tore into her body. What remained was unrecognizable, a shredded mess slumped against the post while her husband was forced to watch from the front row. Kim Jong-il was born on February 16, 1942, official records say, in a guerrilla camp near the Chinese border. His father, Kim Il-sung, was already building the cult that would rule North Korea. Life gave the boy every privilege. Servants, private tutors, foreign luxuries. Yet one hardship cut deep. When he was 7, his mother Kim Jong-suk died suddenly. The loss left a quiet wound. He grew up obsessed with films, music, and control. What most people don't know is that even as a young man he kidnapped South Korean director Shin Sang-ok and actress Choi Eun-hee in 1978 to create propaganda movies that flattered him. The system rewarded his worst qualities. Paranoia became policy. Dissent became treason. Loyalty was measured by silence. Kim rose fast through the Workers' Party propaganda department. By the late 1970s he ran the security apparatus. The first public sign of darkness came in purges of rivals. Anyone who knew too much, anyone who talked, paid the price. The machinery of fear was already turning. In October 1980, at the 6th Party Congress, Kim Jong-il was named his father's official successor. Power flowed to him through the organization and guidance department. He controlled who lived and who vanished. Step by step the cruelty became routine. First came the 1970s crackdowns on decadent behavior. Then the 1980s show trials. Public executions grew more frequent. By the early 1990s, as famine gripped the country, the system tightened. Kim declared the arduous march in 1994, the year his father died, and he took full control. Citizens were told to eat grass and tree bark. Women who crossed into China for food or traded on black markets faced immediate arrest. Instead of help, the regime offered spectacle. Public trials in stadiums and markets became common. Each execution sent the message, survival outside the rules means death in public. The machinery was perfect. Fear kept the starving population in line. Kim's personal vendettas blended with state policy. Women who embarrassed the leader, or the system, paid first. By 2008, 5 women would stand before firing squads in Hworyong's public stadium on October 7 for alleged smuggling and anti-socialist crimes. The pattern was set. Cruelty was no longer random. It was policy. The longest and most brutal chapter played out under Kim Jong-il's direct orders. Public punishment of women became a tool of control. In 1981, Woo In-hee's crime was simple. She had an affair with a Zainichi Korean man and spoke about her years as Kim's secret mistress. She was lured to the execution site under the pretense of release. Soldiers tied her wrists and ankles to the post. A public trial read the charges: adultery and betrayal of the dear leader. Then the rifle spoke. Her body jerked violently with every impact. Blood sprayed across the frozen ground. Her husband, Yoo Young-soo, stood inches away, ordered to watch every second. Kim later erased her from every film, every poster, every record. What most people don't know is that this was not an isolated rage. During the famine years from 1994 to 1998, public executions of women skyrocketed. On October 7, 2008, 5 women were publicly executed in Hworyong Stadium after a rushed trial for prostitution and border-related crimes. One survivor later said, "They marched us to the market square at dawn." The woman was accused of selling rice on the black market. They tied her to the post, read the sentence, and shot her in front of her 2 small children. We were told to clap afterward. According to defector-compiled human rights reports, nearly 1,400 public executions occurred between 2000 and 2013 alone. with women making up a large share for crimes like smuggling food, crossing the border, or prostitution driven by hunger. In June 2009, 33-year-old Ri Hyun-ok, a mother of 3, was publicly executed for giving away Bibles. Another eyewitness account from a prison camp survivor described a 2006 execution. The woman stood shaking in a thin dress. They stuffed a gag in her mouth so she could not scream her innocence. 3 shots to the chest. The crowd was forced to shout approval. But the reality was even darker. Women repatriated from China faced forced abortions or infanticide if pregnant. In some border provinces, executions happened every few weeks. Bodies were left on display for hours as a warning. Kim Jong-il never attended in person, but his orders reached every province. The system turned ordinary survival into capital crime. A second quote from court-style records obtained by defectors read, "Anti-socialist behavior, or spreading decadent culture, justified the shots." Kim's regime used these spectacles to crush any hint of independence among women, who often bore the brunt of survival trading during the famine. The numbers were staggering. By 2008, the seeds of collapse were sprouting. Kim Jong-il suffered a stroke in August. His health crumbled. He could no longer hide the tremors in his left hand or the limp in his walk. Meanwhile, the outside world was catching up. Satellite images showed prison camps expanding. Defector testimonies flooded South Korea and the United Nations. Smuggled USB drives carried proof of the horrors. Kim reacted with fury. He ordered more crackdowns, more executions. But the fear machine was cracking. In 2010, he named his youngest son Kim Jong-un as successor. The old man knew time was short. He spent his final months traveling by armored train, inspecting factories he could barely see. His face grew pale and puffy. His famous black Mao-style suit hung looser on his shrinking frame. The men who once dictated life and death now struggled to speak clearly. The outside pressure and his own failing body made the end feel inevitable. The system he built to punish women in public was still running, but its architect was fading. December 17, 2011. 8:30 in the morning. Kim Jong-il's private armored train sat on the tracks somewhere outside Pyongyang. The temperature outside was bitterly cold, 4 to 7 degrees below average. Inside the luxury carriage, the 70-year-old leader wore his usual gray jumpsuit, the one he favored for field inspections. His face looked exhausted, eyes half closed from years of illness. He had been traveling for a routine guidance tour, pushing himself despite doctors' orders. A massive heart attack struck without warning. Kim slumped forward in his seat. Medical staff rushed in, but it was too late. His body went limp on the train floor, arms at his sides, mouth slightly open. No final words were recorded for the public. Only the official announcement 2 days later claimed he died, from great mental and physical strain, while working for the people. His closest aides stood frozen around the body. The train remained stationary for hours while plans were made. Outside, North Korea prepared the largest mourning spectacle in its history. The men who had ordered women tied to posts and shot in front of thousands now lay motionless in a private carriage, surrounded by the same fear he once wielded. Kim Jong-il's rule ended on that train, but the machinery he built did not. Public punishment of women continued under his son. The question lingers, in a system where even the leader's mistress could be erased with 120 bullets, who was ever truly safe? The women who died in stadiums and markets were not rebels or spies. They were mothers trying to feed children during famine. Their deaths were not accidents of history. They were the point. And somewhere in the records that still remain hidden, their names wait to be spoken again. But the terror did not stop with Kim Jong-il's death. Unknown to most outsiders at the time, the public spectacles he perfected became standard under his son. In the years after 2011, women continued to face firing squads for the same survival crimes, smuggling rice, crossing borders, or owning forbidden media. One pattern repeated: entire neighborhoods were forced to attend. Children as young as 13 stood in crowds and watched. The machinery of control stayed oiled by fear. Defectors later revealed that in some provinces, public executions for anti-socialist acts involving women occurred dozens of times each year. The system Kim Jong-il designed to punish independence among women lived on, stronger in some ways. It showed how one man's paranoia could shape generations of suffering. The bodies changed, but the message stayed the same: step outside the rules, and the post awaits. Today the full scale remains hidden behind sealed borders. How many women died exactly in those stadiums and fields between 1994 and 2011? Defector counts suggest thousands when including secret killings and camp deaths. Yet the regime still denies the spectacles ever happened on such a scale. What most people don't know is that even now, similar trials occur in remote provinces. The women punished were ordinary, market traders, mothers, wives trying to survive famine and isolation. Their stories surface only through those who escaped. The uncomfortable truth is this: the power that once tied Wu In-hee to a post still operates. It waits for the next woman who dares to speak, trade, or dream beyond the rules. History did not end the horror. It simply passed the rifle to the next hand. And the question remains: who will be tied to the post tomorrow?